Today's episode of the Punk Rock Horror Podcast is brought to you by Joy Organics. Hey ghouls and gals, Matt here from PRHP. Real quick, I wanted to talk to you about today's sponsor, Joy Organics. Now, when it comes to the subject of CBD, I'm still really amateur at it at best. I really don't know much about it, so much so that I probably am not a good source of advice. But you know who really is? Joy Organics. And what is so amazing about Joy Organics as a company is that they put customer service first and always. They are so kind and all their staff are so well educated on the subject of CBD. They helped out immensely. I mean, I was kind of blown away by it because I was definitely a skeptic about CBD. I didn't know much about it because of that, and I was just blown away with how well these products work. Well, here's the thing. You don't have to actually go shop in store only to get these products. Joy Organics has a website, joyorganics.com. And if you jump over there right now, you'll see all their products available, everything from tinctures to soft gels to salves, vape pens, energy drinks, even pet products. I know that's kind of ridiculous, right? I didn't even know that was a thing. And that's so cool that they have products for your pets. And it's awesome. And what I love about it is just that they take time and pride in their products. And they really do make a product that they're proud of, and they want to help people and not just sell a product. And I think that's why I love this company. And if you hop over right now to joyorganics.com and put in the code PRHP15, you will get 15% off products. And that's so cool, man, because I know that this is a huge new product and it's getting a lot of attention. And with a company like Joy Organics at the helm, you are at the right hands. All right, thank you again, everyone, and let's jump right into the horror. So Cody, do you know what dedication is?
Dedication?
Yeah, because I've learned what dedication is.
I mean, I would like to think I know what dedication is.
Dedication is when you put so much love and craft to your art, regardless of what it is, that you are willing to sacrifice sleep for it.
Okay.
So, it is now 1:48 on a Monday morning. And if this isn't fucking dedication, I don't know what it is. So I swear to God, the next time anyone looks at me when I say, hey, yeah, I'm a podcaster, and gives the slightest look of like, oh, that's not a thing, I might go fucking insane. Because I think this is it for me, man. Like the next time somebody's like, oh, that's not a real thing, I'm just going to like grab them by the ears enough so they can hear me, yank them to my level and be like, you fucking listen to me. As the politest way I can fucking say this without verbally and physically ripping your spine out of your body at the moment via your ears. I put so much work into not just doing this podcast, but trying to be funny when I do it, when I really should be sleeping instead. So you listen to me, you pessimistic motherfucker. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. And then I drop them.
So, you know what's really funny is every time I've told someone that I'm a podcaster, I've never gotten that look. I always get, oh, that's fucking awesome. What are you guys talking about? And I'm like, because I'm always waiting to meet that person that's like, oh, cool, you got a fucking hobby. Yeah. You know, type thing.
Oh, God. I
have yet to meet someone like that.
I get so fucking mad at the word hobby.
But, like, let's just... Yeah, I know, right? But, like, what's funny is because, like, in my head, I'm expecting the person I'm about to tell that I run a podcast, or I co-run a podcast, to have that look. But every time I say, oh, I co-run a podcast, they're like, oh, fucking, that's awesome. What are you talking about? Like, every single time. And it always takes me aback. Because, like, I'm always expecting the, you know, oh, cool, fucking hippie, or, like, you know, some shit like that, or, like, fucking millennial, of course you run a podcast.
Thanks for relating to me, man.
Yeah.
And welcome back to the Punk Rock Horror Podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Cody.
We're only podcast in the world where the love of horror movies meets the love of punk rock culture. And today, we're here to remind you that our October 5th show at the Gorehounds Playground is coming up. Woo! So come out to that. That was a worthy thing to remind you of.
Yeah.
For Shizzle, my friends in the nizzle.
Also, if you have a hobby, because, seeing as how we just got done ranting about it, fucking good for you, man. Fucking be proud of it. Be proud of your hobby.
And I guess I should be fair. Not everyone that I've talked to has been that with me. Some of them are actually very intrigued and like want to know more about it. But ratio-wise, majority of people I talk to are like, "Oh, that's a cool hobby," and I'm like, "I want to murder you." Like, hobbies are train sets, motherfucker.
Yeah. Train sets that you get away from your family to do.
Like, hobbies are like things you can collect. Yeah. Kind of. Like, you feel me? Like, collecting.
Like, I would say, for me...
Like, what the fuck am I collecting?
Yeah, video games are like a hobby.
Yeah.
Unless you're an e-sporter. But, you know what I mean.
And I get some and they're like, "Oh, you're not getting paid for it." I'm like, "Please suck on some fucking bleach."
Yeah.
Like, I hate that shit so much. And, like, I get it. Like, we're not, like, artists. Like, in the sense of, like, we don't, like, draw and, we've kind of, like, momentarily put up music at the moment. But fact of the matter is that we still do an art. Podcasting does have hard work to it if you want it to sound good and you want it to be reputable. And that's what we're trying to do with the Punk Rock Horror Podcast.
Yeah. And so also we're trying to be like, actually get our journalism on. Yeah. Since I made that comment last time. We're not fucking journalists.
Well, but it's true though. For like 2 years, like, even though we haven't been trying, even though we haven't like noticed it, in a way, we have become more journalistic in sense on just reporting things that are happening in horror. And giving our input about it. Now, like, we're not, like, full, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying, like, we're full on, like, journalists. But, like...
We're just developing that skill.
Yeah, it's just a skill we're developing.
Yeah.
But it's just, like, podcasting does have an art to it. It really does. I mean, I know we come out here and make, like, really, like, tongue-in-cheek jokes a lot, so I'm sure that's the first thought in your mind. But the fact of the matter is we do come with a mentality of wanting to entertain and to bring a product to entertain, because... we like to entertain, pure and simple. We wouldn't do it if we didn't enjoy it. But we also know that all the ghouls and gals and creeps and mutants just enjoy being entertained and just like enjoy listening to people who just on one hand will say stupid shit just to be funny and then actually have like an in-depth talk about like certain parts in horror.
Yeah. Well, I mean, shit, we got to fill in at least an hour. So,
like, I mean, you got to fill in the gap, the dick joke.
Yeah. Well, and also we got to keep ourselves talking for a full hour. Most of the time, 2 hours, because we usually record both episodes.
And that was a solid 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So we're 54 more to go.
Well, even today, fuck, dude, we've been talking so much today because we had several interviews today.
Like a whirlwind.
We recorded one episode of our podcast, and then we went and guest starred on another podcast, and now we're talking even more on our
theater.
Yep, and now we're talking about more of our podcast again.
Like today, truthfully, like even though today is an exhausting day, and I am going to kind of like.
4 hours. It's been 4+ hours of just straight recording, and it's been awesome.
Well, it's true because we my day was just a little longer in the sense that I talked to Joseph from Taking Alpha earlier today to get an update from his band, which, by the way, by the time this episode is coming out, it should have either come out this week or will be coming out next week.
Yeah.
I don't count me for sure again. It's like almost 2 a.m., so bear with me. But
it comes out when it's out!
And then I came up Fort Collins, and I sped my ass up here.
Yeah.
And I was like, I went into that Fast and the Furious mode, which is not okay. Don't ever do that. I'm the only one that can do that. Shame on you. Bad. You stop.
That's a water bottle.
You go the speed limit.
The speed limit, not under. The fucking speed limit.
If it's okay in your state, you can go 5 over, but make sure it's okay. But anyways, fucking yeah, dude. And then we came up and we did our Monday episode. And then we met Plasma Canvas, and that was fucking
so much fun.
That was also really like
they were so awesome.
They were so cool too. Like they were really down to earth. Like, dude. And I want to throw some credit out to like Adrian or Gadrian.
Gadrian,
so like
Jude the dude.
So we were talking about music, and actually like the subject of As I Lay Dying did come up, and that like is like kind of like a touchy subject in certain like communities and groups here and there. Purely because of what Tim did, which, just quick recap if no one knows what I'm talking about, Basically, Tim Lebassis, like I think it was back in 2012, tried to hire a hitman to kill his wife and kids, and it didn't succeed. He got ratted out, went to jail for until like 2018.
Conspiracy to murder.
Yeah, conspiracy to murder until 2018. Came out, owned up to it, basically did a full apology to his ex-wife and kids, to the band, saying that everyone should still support the band as besides his actions, because they weren't involved with any of that. They had no idea about it, and so like I respected him for at least saying that. And the wife, I think that she did accept the apology. From what I hear, she did. I haven't seen an official statement yet, so take that for what you will. But like the reason I'm bringing that up is so we're talking about as I lay dying. Like Adrian was like made it clear like she didn't agree with my standpoint on it, and it was just a respectful like disagreement, and I liked that. Like it didn't have to be an argument of me having to like make my case for why I liked him, and it didn't feel like I had to prove to her why she needed to give him a chance. Yeah. And like that was just nice, man, because like it's a heavy conversation. It's not gonna not be awkward. Yeah. But when you can have two like level-headed minds who are just like, I see where you're coming from. I respectfully disagree though. Like and it can be left at that. Like right on. Like that's where we want our society to go to, is to be able to have those conversations where we just say we disagree and move on.
And you can walk away and say like, I disagree. Well, you're a piece of shit.
But no, like aside that, that didn't like slow down the vibe at all. Like it was still cool hanging out with both Adrian and my dude Jude.
Dude.
But Gadrian says my dude the Jude. That's how I got it.
Okay, I thought he was saying Jude the dude.
Either way.
Or Jude my dude. Jude my dude.
It's really early in the morning.
Jude my dude.
And late at night.
Adrian.
My dude the Jude. Fuck it. Jude.
Jude my dude.
So, point being is that it was just really chill talking with him. Like it was they definitely that interview is coming out the first Wednesday of October. I don't want to give anything away of what we talked about because it was just really cool. It was just really nice talking to them, and I mean, yeah, man. It was just a long day.
Yes, it was. So moving on, let's because we talked about something the fact that we actually do love doing this, and even though it's been a long day, we still love doing it. Yeah. Segue into something we love and hate.
This segment's called Something We Love and Hate. Yeah. It is the segment of the show where me and Cody take something that has happened the past month, week, or the very day and talk about something that we hate and love. We do this not only to just express our own opinions about the world around us, but also to try to relate to all of you creepy ghouls and gals and mutants out there. So if you agree with any of our statements or disagree, please feel free to reach out to us on Twitter, and we will be glad to continue the conversation with you.
Okay, added more onto that this time. The introduction for it. I liked it.
Thank you.
I liked it. I was like, that's
again,
pretty,
going back to trying to be a more reputable podcast, trying to sound like as professional as possible with dick jokes involved.
I was saying that was impressive at 2 a.m.
Thank you.
I was very impressed. I was like,
this is what I'm fucking talking about, man. Okay, I need to go to fucking bed.
I know.
And I still sold that shit. Why haven't we gotten a goddamn baby?
A what? A goddamn baby?
That's why we haven't gotten an Emmy. I don't think podcasts get Emmys.
Say effigy.
We haven't got any podcast awards. We need one. I'll take anything. Even if High Times wants to throw us one for any reason.
You know what? This podcast set the record for saying poop the most.
Taking it.
Yep.
This shit is ours.
This shit is lit.
We own this shit. That's our speech. This is how many times we can pun the word shit.
Yeah, so, Matt, who went first? Did I go? No, you went first.
I heavily think I need to finish on mine.
Okay.
So, go ahead and do you.
All right, so... something I love is it's a little bit mash of two things. One, I love that interview with Plasma Canvas and meeting those fine people. They were great. It was awesome. They were really down to earth, and it was really surreal. But the biggest thing that I love is my buddy got married, and I was in the wedding, and it was just a great wedding. It was very smooth. It was so much fun, and one of the biggest things that I love about it is the day of the wedding. Dev, Audrey, and we were staying down in Denver with my mom, and my mom offered to watch Audrey for the wedding. And it just took us by surprise, and we are just like, what? And she's like, oh, yeah, you kids go to the wedding, have fun. Like, you don't need to worry about Audrey. Me and Gary will watch her, and Gary's my stepdad. And, yeah, and they watched her, and when me and Dev were leaving, like, a good amount, most of the time when me and Dev are leaving Audrey alone, like, even at her parents' house, or if it's with, like, a friend who's going to be watching Audrey even for a little bit, Audrey usually freaks out, but when my mom offered to watch her, and she was like, yeah, we'll watch her, we'll be fine, go have fun, and when we were telling Audrey and my mom bye when we were heading to the wedding, Audrey was fine. She was totally content. She's like, yeah, get out of here. I want to hang out with Gamma B. Like, basically, like, she's like, just get the fuck out.
You're harshing the vibe.
Yeah, she's like, me and Gamma B are going to be watching some Spider-Man, all right? Because Audrey's been obsessed with Spider-Man lately, and it's awesome.
Even Aaron loves Spider-Man, man.
And it was just so funny just seeing her, like, get out. And my mom, like, gave us updates. She's like, yeah, Audrey's fine. She's doing great. Like, my mom didn't have a problem with her, and it was awesome. So it was, like, really nice seeing my mom, especially, because, like, Audrey's my stepkid. And my mom just treating her like she was her own. It was just awesome, like she was her own granddaughter. And it was just really warming for me and Deb. Yeah, it was nice.
It was a milestone.
So that was one of the biggest things that I loved about it, was just that really smooth milestone of Audrey warmed up to my mom enough, like, even without seeing her every day, or like every week, just being able to recognize my mom, who she is, and being comfortable with hanging out with her. It was really awesome. So that's the biggest thing I loved. And then the thing I hate is, it's more of, one, it's 2 a.m. and it's the only thing I can really think of that I'm allowed to talk about, or I feel comfortable about talking, because there's two big things that you know about.
I know, but that's the point.
Is the fact it's been so hard for me to get back into comic books lately. I bought in a bunch, but I just haven't had to read them. But my biggest issue right now is that I'm so confused at where to start anymore with like characters. Like with Captain America, they just re-released the new the new issues where just Steve Rogers is Cap.
Yeah.
Again, and I really want to get back into him, but I'm just like, I don't want to start there, because I'm like, I want to go back and read everything, because him being evil for the past 2 years has a huge influence of what's going on in the new ones.
I mean,
and it's just, to me, I'm like, I want to read those, but I don't know where to start. And now I can't even find them anymore. It's like, well, Cody, just fucking Amazon it. No, there's a difference buying the actual copy than there. That's my biggest thing. And I'm not crossing that threshold yet.
I would say Read Comics Online does a really good job at telling you, like, the overall, like, arcing for each, like, catalog of story they have.
Yeah.
So it's, like, that's helped me, like, keep up to pace with certain stories.
Yeah.
So that way I know where to, like, because they'll include, like, oh, well, this happened in this story in, like, in the title, So
I guess that's my biggest thing. And also, like, I've been fucking Punisher. It's so goddamn hard to find good Punisher comics that I don't have. And I know I don't have a lot of them. Graphic novels. I'm gonna be specific. I do graphic novels, mostly because it's just easier to pick up, read, own, and I'm not 100% worried if they get a little damaged instead of the actual comic book. And just like, I've been having trouble finding Punisher, Ghost Rider, like all the like more darker Marvel heroes, and even like trying to find Captain America lately, like. It's just bare bones everywhere. Like Barnes & Noble, fucking Second and Charles even. I'm just like... It's just driving me nuts. And like, I've even noticed like Spider-Man comics, like... It's just hard to keep that continuity for me lately. And I'm just... But yeah, that's the biggest thing I hate that I'm allowed to talk about. Matt.
So, Mine's definitely a bit more personal.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to relate to a lot of people out there. So, I'm going to have to construct it in this way. So, basically, on this podcast, we promote a safe environment just in general. And I know that's, like, really kind of difficult to do, especially since it's an audio podcast.
Yeah.
An audio
what?
format.
No fucking
I know,
way.
right.
I thought it was all visual. No sound. They're just reading our lips.
Technically it is. But so on here we promote, acceptance. We promote acceptance among all religions, even though we do take some crack shots religion. We promote acceptance with your sexual identity, religion, so on and so forth.
Kinks.
kinks,
No
everything.
kink shame here.
Basically, everyone's at the same point on this podcast. We treat everyone the same way, the way we would want to be treated, and we make our apologies as just.
Yeah, especially when you guys call us out, we will apologize.
But I want to make this a statement and just kind of a point. So recently, a few weeks back on my Facebook, my personal one, I made a post saying that the new documentary on Hulu called Hail Satan ? Was really good. Like, it actually got me feeling bad for Satanists. Take from that what you will. But it's definitely worth the watch if you're interested into that at all. And so, keep in mind, I'm not Satanist. I'm not satanic at all. I don't really have a want to go Satanist. I also don't have a want to go Christianity. So, like, don't, like, put me in either camp.
Don't add them.
But don't at me. So I'm gonna say they're all shit. Like, if you put me in that corner. But basically,
science.
Science.
That's where we lean.
Yeah, science. Anyways, 2-3 weeks passed, and so I had an individual comment on my post, and to kind of like sum it up, this person basically said that I'm going to go to hell and burn forever. I need to get my shit straight. I need to, get it together, and that I'm too stupid to understand the world around me, and that my child should be taken from me if I don't change. And so for my whole life, I've been blessed and fortunate enough, and I made this statement on my personal Facebook as well, but I want to make this publicly known too, for my whole life, I've been blessed enough to have family that is and is also not blood related, that I consider family without question.
Yeah.
And because of these people, I've been able to have the ability to like the things I like, listen to the music that I like, dress the way I want to dress without fear of judgment from those close to me, and I can easily ignore what other people think of me.
I judge you all the time.
Yeah, you did. But it was warranted. I thought we were going to get into a fight. So
you did. You really did.
But the thing is that I'm used to like hateful things. Like, that being said, I've been called things like wetback, and I've been called things like delinquent, and just really terrible slurs based on my skin, based on how I dressed, and just who I am in general. And it's just like, when this person who said this stuff was actually what I was supposed to consider as a family member, said these things, it just like crossed the line, because it was just really hurtful, and it broke my heart, and it just sucked, pure and simple. No matter, even if it's a stranger, saying things like that still like cuts a chord pretty deep with me. Yeah. Because how could it not? And but what was nice about it though, and that was obviously the thing I hate, but what I loved is that when I made that post, when I was like, this is not okay, no one should talk to someone like this, basically, to sum up my post is what I said. Yeah. Everyone, like, people that I didn't talk to for like 10 years came out of the woodwork and were just like, dude, like, this person's never had a conversation with you. You're nice. You're sweet. Like, this isn't you at all. And like,
fuck that bitch.
Yeah, like, people I haven't talked to for years just like came out and were like, fuck that hoe. Just like, and people I barely even know that I don't even talk to, like, came out and said, fuck that hoe. And like, man, like, I was just really kind of like humbled by how many people came to bat for me that really didn't need to, that they could have just like kept scrolling. And I get it, like, it's a Facebook, oh my god, you got a Facebook post.
Oh my god, he posts his feelings.
But fuck it, whatever, it's my thing I hate and love.
Yeah.
So like,
it's our podcast.
It was just nice, man. It was just nice, like, having that like support, because it's you never really know the type of people around you until it actually comes to it. And I guess the point I want to end on is, if you have just one person in your life that loves the shit out of you for who you are and promotes that and supports you, don't ever take them for granted, because that shit is just so vulnerable. It's so valuable. Yeah. I mean, hell yeah, man. Like, whether it's like 10 people or one person, just even if it's yourself, like, love the shit out of you. Know you're fucking amazing, and rock you to the end of days, man, because that's what I plan to do, and fuck that hater. So with that being said, let's talk about horror.
And the real lesson of today's talk about giant monsters is that humanity is the true monster.
Speaking of monsters.
Yeah, humanity's the real monster.
That is a way better segue.
Hey,
Speaking
our
of monsters.
movies came out in the same year.
Oh, hey. Yas
And they're
Queen.
both foreign films.
Yas Queen.
Yes, because mine's Canadian.
Yas Queen.
Yes.
Yas Queen, eh?
Yes, Queen, eh?
What's that all about, Queen?
Oh, so that's how they got Queenie, is they heard a Canadian say Queen, eh?
What's that all about, Queen?
Oh my god, I fucking love that episode on Letterkenny. We're like, no, the Americans think we say a boot. A boot? Like a boot? No, like about, but we say it a boot. The fuck is that about?
That's fucking funny. We totally deserve those jokes.
I know.
I mean, I thought they were hillbillies, so...
Hits.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Fuck, who went first?
So what do we do? We did Stitches and All Hallows Eve. You went last, I went first, you go first.
Yay!
It's like, again, 2 a.m, bear with us.
I know. I'm so tired. But I love you. So, mine is a very controversial pick for 2 reasons. One, it's not technically, it really isn't a horror film. It just has a horror aspect. And 2, from what when me, you, and Nick were talking about this movie, it's a very divisive movie in itself in the horror community.
Yeah.
So I did my movie on 2016's Colossal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Colossal is actually considered a comedy, drama, fantasy more than a horror, but it has has 2 giant fucking monsters, so I'm considering it for this pick since we did kaijus, and I wanted to do something different. So, but anyways, the synopsis of it is: Gloria is an out-of-work party girl forced to leave her life in New York City and move back home. When reports surface that a giant creature is destroying Seoul, she gradually comes to the realization that she is somehow connected to this phenomenon. They finally got a good synopsis there, man.
Yeah, phenomenon.
Right. Yeah, like you said, IMBD just, they're hit or miss.
It happens.
It was directed by, sorry, I just loved his first name, Nacho Vigalondo, or Vigalondo.
I bet no one's ever made fun of his name like that.
No way at all. And it was written by Nacho Vigalondo. It stars Anne Hathaway, Jason Sudeikis, who I truly 100% believe is a very underrated actor, and Austin Stowell.
It's Jason Sudeikis.
I pronounce it Sudeikis.
No, it really is Sudeikis.
I know, but I pronounce it Sudeikis, and I'm going to go with Sudeikis.
You're just taking your resolve with that one.
I'm sticking to it. I'm sticking to it.
It is now
Sudeikis.
It's
so
not Sudeikis. It's Sudeikis.
Sudeikis.
That sounds like a new pair of sneakers. Check out my new sneakers. Sudeikis.
Yeah. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie, and I got to watch it with Dev, and she liked it too, even though she started saying she hated it because of certain aspects. But anyway, so I liked it. The opening I thought was pretty good. It's one of the few times that I like the flash forwards in the beginning.
Really?
So yeah, it made sense, and the biggest reason why I loved it so much is because it shows the monster in the very beginning, shows the kaiju.
Yeah.
And then it flash forwards 25 years and just shows how much of a hot mess Anne Hathaway's character is. And I don't know why, but I just truly enjoyed that. I liked it. I mean, I have nothing against Anne Hathaway. I like her. I just liked that beginning. So, and early on, you notice that Gloria, I still don't know how I feel about this, but it shows Gloria, it already shows that Gloria has tics. Of course, from past tragedy type thing, little ticks and stuff like that throughout the whole movie. Right. I don't know how I felt, how quick and fast they got to show that Gloria and the monster are connected. It showed it really quick. Unless you're completely oblivious, 100% oblivious, you already know it if you didn't even know the synopsis of the movie. Like, you could tell, like, oh, they're connected somehow.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Right.
So, I'm still not certain how I feel. I like that she does figure it out semi-fast, but I don't know. It just, to me, in a personal level, I don't know if I 100% liked it. Even though I said I like that she does figure it out. I had my biggest con with this movie, though, I just want to start off with it, is that everyone sucks.
Okay.
Like Gloria, you know, she's a terrible human being. Just a terrible human being of a person.
Right.
Because, like, she lives with her boyfriend, and the reason why he kicks her out is because she just refuses to get a job, and he put up with it for a whole year. So, one, good job to that guy. I mean, fuck, man. Like, I remember I had an ex where she just refused to get a job, and then it just drove me nuts.
She was great.
Yeah, she was a fucking lump. But, I mean, good for him for putting up with it that long. But other than that, I fucking hate that guy throughout the entire movie. There's this one point where he calls her. He's like, "Oh, I'm just calling to check up on you," but the entire time, all he does is bitch about what her decisions are, because he's super pissed off in the meeting. He's like, "You don't get a job. All you do is party," and then and that's why he kicks her out of the apartment and sends her, and she goes home. But she gets a job almost right away. Right. And she's like, "Yeah, I got a waitress job just so I can get started get back on, to help me get back on my feet." And he flips the fuck out about it. He's like, "You're fucking better than that," and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, sorry if I spit on you.
No, I was like, my eyes are dry.
Okay, but that's what that pissed me off so much, because oh my god, you kicked her out for not getting a job, and she got a job, and you're still pissed off with her. Come on, man, baby steps. And the biggest reason she had a job is because she had a drinking problem. She couldn't get a job because she had that.
Yeah.
But then she gets a job, and you get pissed off that she has a job, and she was actually trying to fix herself. So that pissed me off. I was like, fuck you. So, and then one thing, the reason why I was saying earlier that Jason Sudeikis is such a, I'm going to keep saying it. Sudeikis is such an underrated actor, is that this movie proves it for me.
Yeah.
Because, Gloria, who's Anne Hathaway's character, ends up running back into Jason Sudeikis' character, Oscar, and you find out they were childhood friends, and he's super friendly to her, really nice to her the beginning, but then you start seeing small cracks in his armor, his facade. There's this point where this guy tries to kiss Gloria, and Oscar just flips the fuck out, hardcore. Anne Hathaway's character Gloria even backs up and is like, "Oh, no," and he just flips the fuck out hard. And I was like, all right, there's something a little up with this guy. Of course you're obviously he's into Gloria or Anne Hathaway's character.
Yeah.
And you're thinking that, okay, all right, that's fair. Because I kind of related to Oscar in the beginning, super friendly, nice at one point, but then can switch like that, especially because they were drinking all night. Yeah. And I was like, all right, yeah, I've had those moments where I just flipped the fuck out of nowhere, and I was like, okay, I can relate to that. But then he becomes the villain of the movie, and he does such a good job, because when you think Jason Sudeikis, you don't think, villain, you think, oh.
I mean, is that a big spoiler, or?
No, it happens super early.
Oh, okay.
He just starts becoming a hardcore villain. And it's really good seeing that transition, because him and Anne Hathaway have such great chemistry through the whole movie.
Yeah.
His switch is so good, and it's just great. And I love him as a villain, and I think he's such an underrated actor because of it. I stopped taking notes out of the first half because I got super into the movie. Anyways, so another con I had is at some point Anne Hathaway's character flies overseas. I'm not going to say where and why. But to me, I'm just like, where the fuck did you get that money? She just does it overnight. I'm like, how the fuck do you get the money off of waitressing to get a flight overseas? That's several grand. So I don't know where she gets this money all of a sudden to do that. So that was one thing that bugged me.
Like, is it like imperative to her character though? Like, is she supposed to be written as like a struggling character? Because I know you said like she didn't have a job.
She didn't have a job. She has no family. She has no money.
So she's just like, there was like nothing that could have happened where she could have just gotten that money.
No.
Even like having a Colossus like help friend.
So, her colossal friend is in another country.
Town. Oh, okay.
Like the creature is in another country.
Oh, okay.
So the creature is destroying Seoul. It says it in the synopsis. It's destroying Seoul, South Korea.
Oh, okay.
And so she somehow gets there with no money.
Ha.
Yeah. So that was a big con. But other than that, the twist. I'm not gonna spoil the twist. I can see why it pissed a lot of people off. Okay, so that's the biggest decisive thing about this review.
So we're gonna have to talk about the twist.
Because this is the biggest thing about this movie, and it's the biggest reason why everyone shits on this movie, and it pissed them off.
How long do you think you need?
I'm gonna need 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay.
All right.
So if you don't want the twist we spoiled for you, skip ahead 2 minutes into this recording in 3, 2.
All right. So, at one point in the movie, you find out Jason Sudeikis also has a creature that pops up. So he tries to... when Anne Hathaway shows her friends that she can control the monster...
Yeah.
Jason Sudeikis tries to help her, and then she falls, destroys a lot of South Korea because she's controlling the other monster.
Yeah.
And so, and the next morning, she wakes up, and Jason Sudeikis' character, Oscar... he's totally chill about it. She's like, how many people did I kill? And he's like, just don't worry about that, whatever. He's trying to, at first you're thinking he's trying to help his friend. Yeah. But then he goes, I think this monster's me. Because he shows a picture that there's a second monster there, and it's a robot. And so throughout the movie, you notice that Anne Hathaway always scratches at the top of her head.
Yeah.
And that's how she figures out that she is related to the monster, because she sees a picture of the monster scratching its head the same way she does. And so what pissed me off is you find out the reason why she has this connection to this monster, and why it only appears when she goes into this park, is because when her and Jason Sudeikis were kids, it wasn't a park yet, it was just trees. They had to make dioramas. She made a diorama of Seoul, South Korea. It flies off during the storm. Jason Sudeikis' character, when he was a kid, goes to get the diorama, and she sees him just destroy it. And all of a sudden there's a thunderstorm. She gets hit by lightning in the dome. Jason Sudeikis gets hit by lightning. They had action figures of the monsters that are appearing. So she had this giant lizard. She had a lizard monster as her toy, and he had a robot monster as a toy. So that's why those monsters show up in South Korea. Because he destroyed a South Korea diorama that she made.
Huh.
That's the only reason. Because she got mad that he destroyed her diorama. And they got hit with lightning, and that's the only that's why the monsters show up.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, that is the end of the spoiler. If you skipped ahead, this is now the safe
back
place.
Into it. If you listen to the spoiler, I also thought it was really stupid, but at the same time, I was like, not every twist needs to be a severe traumatic experience. Like, I was expecting, she got raped there.
Yeah.
Or she was beaten there. Or she watched someone die there. So, don't get me wrong. It's a stupid twist. And it's really dumb. But I also kind of appreciated that they went with the tongue-in-cheek style.
I mean, I think...
bullying is bad. That's basically the twist.
I think we can still hate the twist, but still appreciate the movie
for because
itself. And I know that's a real hard pill to swallow, because part of the adventure of a movie is how it ties up at the end. The payoff you get from investing in time in it. And so it's I would say that needs to be the case that's made for Colosso.
Yeah. For Colossal, I will say the twist is dumb and it might piss you off, but overall the movie's great. The graphics hold up really well. The monsters looked really, really good.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with that. So there's this fight scene. This isn't a spoiler. There's a fight scene, and what they do, it's really, really cool. Is you just see Anne Hathaway fighting a human, but they make it so like you hear in the background the monsters fighting, but you see the humans fighting, and it's really cool because like it kind of adds to it. I was like, oh shit, because you're seeing the heartbreak and anguish in Anne Hathaway's character during the fight, and when you see two giant monsters fighting, you don't see that. Right. So I like that twist on the monster fight, because another big con I know that I've heard from a lot of people about this movie is there's not enough of the monsters, but I think it helps this movie because the monsters are symbolizing the people. So, yeah. Overall, I would say the comedy's good in this. Jason Sudeikis and Anne Hathaway's chemistry with each other is just fucking phenomenal. And Jason Sudeikis is a very underrated actor for a villain. Like, he played a villain so good.
And to the record straight, it's Sudeikis.
Sudeikis. And Anne Hathaway, like, I thought this was one of her better roles, especially in kind of more of an indie film, because this was an indie film out of Canada. So I highly recommend it if you got, especially like if you're kind of like iffy about giant monsters. I don't know why you would be, but I think it would be awesome. This is a good movie to start with, and it's also a good family fun movie. Yeah, there's some like hard subjects it touches on, but at the same time, like they handle everything pretty well. Like they definitely handle the underlying alcoholism problem really well. And that even though it's very hard to change and get over those vices, there's something bigger in your life that can always help you get there. So that's what I liked about this movie, and I highly recommend it. So some fun facts. Anne Hathaway was in the second trimester of her pregnancy while filming the movie. Oh. That would explain why she had so much loose clothing.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool. And then this movie was hit by a lawsuit in May of 2015, claiming it had too many similarities to 2014's Godzilla. I didn't see it.
Huh.
I didn't see it.
That's interesting.
Yep. I'm not going to say the third one because it's a big spoiler.
Dang.
Yeah.
All right.
Very big spoiler.
Huh. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So, with that being said,
yep.
If you want to watch Colossal,
you can check it out on Hulu for free. If you have a Hulu
account. You can also rent it or buy it on Amazon right now.
Mm-hmm.
It is not on Netflix, so sorry, Netflix people. I mean, Netflix is getting the shaft recently.
It really is. Well, you know why, right?
Yeah, I know because, why. We don't need to go down that
Well, I was saying the biggest thing is one of the biggest things is because they want to put out more of their own original content.
Yeah, well, good luck.
I know. So it's very hit or miss with Netflix originals.
So for mine, the same theme that we're hitting on here, and that we talked about in Monday's episode, is that there isn't like a lot of like horror kaiju movies that isn't Cloverfield, and so we want to avoid Cloverfield
or the OG Godzilla.
So we wanted to try and avoid that while still staying within kaiju, and it was really hard because I was originally thinking of doing The Blob. Mm-hmm. Because I thought it was in the same realm, giant monster from space, basically destroying an entire town.
Yeah. But
it does not go with the definition of kaiju. I even thought about doing The Host, and technically, that one also does not go into the realm of kaiju either. Like,
it does.
You really think it does, but after talking with you about it and really looking into it, it's not good enough for one for me to consider.
Yeah, because it's more of the whole creature feature lumped into the kaiju film that we talked about on Monday.
It is definitely more of a creature feature. So I was like, there's got to be one that I'm not doing, that I haven't thought of doing, that I should really do.
I know, you took my second choice.
Yeah.
Actually, third. Because my second one was I Killed Giants, but I could not fucking find that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Could not.
Well, and I would also think that one's more fantasy than anything.
Giants. Giant monsters.
So, to keep in line with what we're talking about, I decided to do 2016's also Shin Godzilla. So,
God, it's so good. I love this movie.
So, obviously, it's going to be hard to pick, like, solid, like, scary horror with kaiju in general in it, but
yeah.
I'll get into the reasons why I picked into this, but Shin Godzilla, which this is probably the only time I'll give IMDb a break with their summary. In this summary of this movie is Japan is plunged into chaos upon the appearance of a giant monster. To be fair, I don't know how else you could expand on that.
It's true.
That's
literally all that happens.
I'm like, Japan is spun into chaos when a new neighbor moves to town to turn it upside down.
Who happens to be a 7 foot, gigantic giant lizard
dinosaur thing.
God, we're fucking tired. Can't
And
even
it's
do our do things anymore.
And it's just like, we're gonna make this goddamn joke. It is fucking Godzilla and like a dude bro hat with dude bro fucking here, and he makes friends with like the fat neighborhood kid, and it's just like, hey Pudgy, how's it going, bro?
I was thinking more along the lines of fucking Godzilla from that old Nike commercial where he plays basketball with Charles Barkley. Fucking puts on the sunglasses, pumps up his fucking Nike shoes, and Godzilla just goes, yeah!
That's literally what it is, basically, that like a cross between that Rex, that one detective dinosaur that Whoopi Goldberg was forced to star in with. Poor Whoopi.
I forgot about that.
And like Shaquille O'Neal's Kazam. It's a mix between those two. And he's just like, yeah, bro, like, don't worry, man, we'll take care of those bullies. And there's like an arm cross, like slash on the kid's shoulder for like the cover. That's Shin Godzilla. Okay, that was the joke that we that pulled out at like 2:30 in the morning. That is as gold as you're gonna get, so you're welcome.
So, Matt, who is it directed and written by?
So, Shin Godzilla 2016 is directed by Hideki Anno and Shinji Higuchi, and is written by Hideki Anno and Sean Whitley.
For the English version. That's the English version is Sean Whitley.
Written for the English version is Sean Whitley. Thank you. Stars Hiroki Hasegawa, Yutaka Takanuchi, and Satomi Ishihara.
I'm just going to do a quick little sidebar here real fast. I love when we get to talk about Japanese films for the sole reason of the Japanese language being so goddamn easy to read. These names, man, they just warm my heart, because every time we have the German or the French names, we're just like, and then we have like fucking Yamauchi.
Yeah.
Literally
Yamachi.
says how it's spelled.
Yamauchi.
It's so great.
And like, it's
so good.
The German ones get me really nervous a lot of times, and I was like, oh god, there's like Hausen somewhere in there. I know it is. Like, or
Vit there,
or Stein. There's a Stein in there. I know there's a Stein.
There's a Stein, right?
So anyway,
we can make those jokes in Jewish.
I don't think Germany's going to create war on the Punk Rock Horror Podcast anytime soon, so I think we're all right.
Oh god.
So, and I also cleverly titled mine, I Ain't Got No Shin, Godzilla. An homage to King of the Hills, Cotton Hill. I was proud of that. I ain't got no shins, Godzilla.
What do you want to do today, King Ging? I don't know, Bing Bing.
I don't know, Big Big. What do you want to do today? I don't kill fitting men.
It took my shins.
And the irony that like I connected the two, because he's like killed Japanese men, and like we're doing
talking about
so there's an irony here. Anyway, so Shin Godzilla pros is that so one of the biggest things about the Godzilla movies has always been, how does Godzilla look? Because Godzilla himself, or herself, depending on where we're going, you want to go with that. I know some people argue here.
I know.
We're going to go with him. So Godzilla himself has always been just a fantastical thing to look at in general. So the look of Godzilla always matters.
I was say, I don't know, man. He's had some pretty derpy ass fucking looks in the past.
It's all about how they're going to do the costume. Well, this one is so unsettling that I love it.
Yeah,
they definitely
blood red mixed in there.
Yes, they definitely go in a more horror-inspired direction with the look of Shin Godzilla, and which also, by the way, the correct title in Japan is Shin Gojira. Mm-hmm. So just to make that correct, but it's a really cool, just like unsettling black tar, gills flopping around, blood falling out of the gills. and just like a really fucking like dark looking Godzilla, and it was really really cool because they also took homage to the original what the original Godzilla was, not the one that we're used to with like Bryan Cranston, but the original very Toho creation, and so I like that
OG one where he was menacing and a fucking monster.
Yeah,
Good Godzilla.
yeah, it was good. So normally when I do my reviews, I paint a very good picture of what happens. Keep in mind this is a Godzilla movie, so I think you kind of know the direction that this is going to go, because this follows the plot of Godzilla making his first appearance again in Japan, and yes, again, because this happened more than once.
This is like his fourth or fifth time. Fourth or fifth.
His fifth
At
first.
least third. I know it's at least his third time coming back in Japan.
So basically this creature appears out of the ocean, and Japan is just, what IMDb says, is sent into chaos because they don't know what to do about this creature, because they see Godzilla's tail come out of the ocean, and then they're like, a good portion of the movie is just them trying to figure out what to do about Godzilla, because and I'll get to that part in a second. But so another pro I love about it is that so one thing that was always awesome about the Godzilla movies was the destruction that was caused in it. Like, that was always fun, because and what was such a relief about that is that we're so used to movies that have to be like explosions and like action scenes have to be done in a certain way, that there's this control over it. But I feel when it comes to like monster kaiju movies, it's definitely more of like, here's this town, destroy it like a monster would.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, who as a kid didn't set up their Legos or the big block ones, like Mega Blocks, up like little towers and go, right,
exactly. Well, and that's the thing. Like, the destruction when Godzilla first comes onto the shores of Japan is really good. Like, and I know that's like a weird pro to give, but it's done in a really weird, like, well thought out, like, artistic way.
Yeah.
And even artistic's really kind of pushing it to describe it, but it's just like, you see Godzilla in its first evolution come up, which I'm bringing back up here in a second here. But its evolution, in its first evolution form, come up, and like water is also following with it, and because of that water, he creates a tidal wave. Yeah. And the tidal wave also tears apart the town. So it's like realistic. Yeah. With like how destructive that nature would be. Yeah. With a creature of that size. Now, I mentioned that Godzilla in its first evolution. So what I love about this movie is that they take a very realistic approach to what would it be like if a giant lizard monster came out of the ocean. What would we actually expect? And so they kind of go to like evolution itself of like, you know, creatures like quarreling on land. Yeah. Like adapting to the land and growing legs to survive. And so like the first evolution of Godzilla only has its hind legs and like nubs for arms. Yeah. And it's just like a really unsettling, like derpy-ish kind of looking like creature, but it's still like really unsettling because like as it moves, its gills like jiggle back and forth and like blood flies out. And like steam like is coming from the blood, and you're like, holy shit.
The fuck is that?
So, and that's the thing, that's another pro. It doesn't take long to start. Like, they jump into it like basically right away. Yeah. There isn't like a like, oh, what's going on in Japan and how's it going to unfold? Yeah. Kind of thing. Like, it's just like, oh, here's a monster, bam. Like, so it doesn't take long to do that. And this is where I'm gonna like peer off real quick to go to my cons. So one thing that although that a lot of people loved about this movie that was hard for me is that there was a lot of politics in this movie.
Yeah, because this one was supposed to be it was legitimately a throwback to OG Godzilla films. And so there was a lot of human politics.
And to be fair, like that is what it was back then. Like all the like Cody said, the OG ones was, here's this monster. How do we approach this monster?
And oh shit, there's another monster.
And now there's another monster.
How do we defeat them? Let them fight.
Let them fight. But it's so there's a lot of that. And if you were a fan of that in the original Toho creations, then there's a lot of that to love here. So much so that there's an hour and 6 minutes of it total. At least 50 minutes if you take out like the initial scenes of like Godzilla coming onto the shore.
Yeah. It's long.
Yeah, it can be rough. I definitely dozed off a couple times here and there, but I'm not going to hold that against the movie because I understand why they're doing that. And I get it, and so I'm still making a con though, just because it can slow down the pace at times. Now, coming back though, where it picks up is after that like 55 to hour and 6 minutes of runtime, it does pick up, and they actually start explaining more of like Godzilla's anatomy, and that's where it got really exciting for me.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, because they're literally taking him. It's kind of like it's like what would happen if this creature existed and how would it be approached, so on and so forth. And so like it was just really really cool because I loved the science of it. I always love it when a horror movie, when it's in its right context and in the right realm, dives into the science. So the reason I kind of like spanned over that is because, again, the whole hour, like first hour of that movie is just the prime minister and like all of his like electives and everybody else just being like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
And then Godzilla eventually evolves into the full Godzilla form that we're used to, that you see on the cover. It becomes more menacing and 10 times more badass. So another thing is though, so there is use of like the original like music. Or inspiration at least from the original music from the original Toho Godzilla movies, especially when Godzilla resurfaces in this full Godzilla form.
Yeah,
like it's like, and I'm not gonna try to mimic it, but it is like that exact type of music, and you're just like, oh, that's nostalgic.
Yeah,
like for sure. It's not like the weird slow down like rap cover of like a song.
You know what's really cool?
What?
Because it's gonna go into the trivia fact that I want to read.
What
is that exact? The thing about the music.
Cool.
There's a reason. I want to tell. No, don't.
Okay. But I'm just glad I caught that. I was like, that is the original.
Yeah.
You sons of bitches.
Yeah. There's a cool reason, and I was really excited.
Okay. So another thing is that I know a lot of times when it comes to I've watched the dub version, not the subtitle, because I just didn't want to watch the subtitle because it's my life. America. Fucking reading's useless.
Why do I want to read when I could watch it?
So the American dub's actually really good. There are some like notable voices in there. Like I'm pretty positive. Like I have to confirm it, but I feel like Todd Haberkorn's actually in there, and I like him as a voice actor. And there's a lot of familiar ones in there too. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but the American dub is done really well. I mean, you obviously know when it's like English over Japanese just because of the mouth movements, but it's so on point with it that like it's easily overlooked.
Yeah.
Like you can I mean, if you focus on it, obviously it's going to bother the shit out of you, but it's still at the end of the day, like it's still like it's just a good watch for that because it doesn't bother you. It doesn't bother me. And so one thing we also talked about to end out my pros on this movie.
Sorry, what was the actor?
Todd Haberkorn.
No.
Yeah, he is right there.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
Yeah, so Todd Haberkorn's in it. Yeah, there's a few in there. Anyways, I need to end on my last pro.
Yeah.
So on our Monday's episode, we talked about that Godzilla and King Kong. A lot of these movies were major metaphors for back in the day.
Yep.
And so they kept with that with Shin Godzilla. And so it hits this great metaphor of where there's a point in the movie where like Japan doesn't know what to do without the help of the U.S. basically. Mm-hmm. And so like the prime minister is just kind of like sitting feeling powerless. And so one of his I think it's an assistant goes up to him and it's just like hey, maybe it's time we stop relying on the U.S. and start letting Japan does as it pleases. And like the quote he says to be direct is, maybe it's time Japan does as it pleases. And I thought that was a metaphor. You know, that was a huge thing where Japan, and I'm taking it as like my perspective because keep in mind, I'm not Japanese, I'm not from Japan. I can only take it as how the movie explains it. But it basically comes out to like being like, Godzilla was always a Japan thing. It always should have been solved by the Japanese. And so the Japanese should really stick to solving their own issues and being proud of that and being proud of their people and fighting for themselves. Mm-hmm. That's how it came off to me. Now, whether that was the intention, I do not know. But keep in mind, that is just a critic, the eye of beholder, taking in the art that's in front of him. So when you see this message, take it for yourself. Maybe it's not what I thought it was. But with that being said, Shin Godzilla is a 2-hour-long movie. Now, I mean, no surprise I chose a 2-hour one.
You know what? It's a great 2 hours.
It is.
I love this movie.
It's a good movie. It is worth your time. The first hour, like I said, the first hour is going to be a little rough if you're not into the whole politics of things, but it is still a really good watch because like when Godzilla gets fucking mad in this movie and actually uses its powers, it is dope. I mean, the coolest scene, flat out, as it always should be, is when Godzilla uses its fire breath.
Yep.
And it was so fucking dope in this movie. They did, like, dude, I was just like, hell fucking yeah. Like, Godzilla's face turns into a whole predator face, where, like, his bottom jaw, like, separates.
Yeah, dude.
And just, like, vomits out fire onto the ground and, like, engulfs all of, like, Tokyo. And then just, like, like, homes in on, like, a whole beam and just, like, cuts like half of the skyscrapers in like half, and I'm just like, holy shit! Like, fuck yeah! Godzilla! Oh my Godzilla! Like, it was fucking dope, dude. Like, when Godzilla gets pissed off in this movie, you're like, hell yeah, fuck humanity.
Yeah, dude, that's how I felt watching the fucking anime Godzilla movies. Like, every time a Godzilla would use his heat beam or whatever, I was like, yes!
Fuck that bitch!
Or like even especially in the new ones, like in the 2014 Godzilla, when he like breathes his breath and rips that Muto in half using it, I was just like, oh god, yes.
Yeah, that's what we wanted.
That's all I need.
So, with that being said, you can rent Shin Godzilla now on Amazon Prime. For $3.99. It's not on Hulu, I checked, and it's also not on Netflix. So right now it is on Amazon Prime. Please check it out, because for some reason it's hard to get hands on it in the US. I don't know why it is, but it always is. Order it if you want.
I got mine at Gorehound's Playground.
And you can get yours at Gorehound's Playground if you live in Fort Collins, Colorado, or even just Colorado in general. If you want to make that trip, you should totally make that trip. But
especially on October 5th.
Especially on October 5th at 7 p.m. Be there sharp. But no, it's definitely, especially whether you're a veteran of the kaiju movies, a fan of it, you're gonna love this movie. And if you just want to watch a Godzilla movie that isn't one that hasn't aged too well, this is also a good like entry to the catalog.
Oh yeah, this one aged great.
Yeah, well,
in my opinion.
Well, it's been like 3 years.
Have you gone back and watched a 2016 movie that hasn't aged well? There's a lot.
Well, still, my whole point is just Godzilla in general. Like, if you were wanting that like breath of fresh air into what you grew up with, this is the Godzilla movie that you want to watch. Pure and simple. If you weren't a fan of the Bryan Cranston one, you're probably gonna really like this one.
Yeah.
So check it out. So a few interesting facts.
I just think it's funny. We always say the Bryan Cranston one, and he was barely in the movie.
I know. We're so bad at that. We're terrible human beings.
Okay.
So a few interesting facts. Producer Akihiro Yamauchi stated that the title Shin Gojira was chosen for the film due to the variety of the meanings the syllable Shin could convey, such as new, true, and God. Which, to be fair, this one is marketed as God.
Okay. I want to read the next one.
Okay.
Because I have a couple of things that... Okay. This is the first Japanese Godzilla movie to be a full reboot, meaning that it shows what would happen if Godzilla attacked for the first time in modern day. Oh my god, stupid computer. And there had been no previous records of them. Although Toho has quote-unquote rebooted Godzilla a few times, each previous film acknowledged the original 1954 movie as canon and just ignored all previous sequels. That is because, except for this one, the reason why they always acknowledge the original 1954 film is from what I talked about over on Conspiracy Theory, that the OG Godzilla that died in 1954 became the Mecha Godzilla that helps out the humans, and that's why they always acknowledge the original.
Oh.
Godzilla facts.
Godzilla.
Yeah, and so when they did Shin Godzilla, they're like, no, we just need a whole reboot. So that is the reason why you said it looks like the Godzilla from the original films. It's because they wanted to be truly the Godzilla, the OG Godzilla again.
Tight.
Yep.
Tight. Despite receiving an official English title, Godzilla Resurgence, the movie is nonetheless released in the United States under its original Japanese title, Shin Godzilla, at Toho's request. A possible explanation for this is that they wanted to avoid confusion with the movie Independence Day Resurgence, which also came out in 2016. Godzilla Resurgence is kept as a title for general international promotion. However, other territories, for example Germany, also released the film under its original Japanese title.
So you know what pisses me off that the English title did that when this movie was first coming out? Yeah. I looked like a fucking jackass to everybody when I was like, oh my god, have you seen Godzilla Resurgence? Like, yeah, Shin Godzilla? And I'd be like, no, that's a different movie. Like,
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was like, you're a fucking jackass. And then they're like, no, Godzilla Resurgence is Shin Godzilla. And I finally looked it up after months of arguing with people, and I was like, I'm a fucking jackass. Fuck you, English.
So, and last one real quick. So, two last ones. For Saitomi Ishihara, who plays a Japanese-American diplomat, the hardest part of her performance was learning English. She found out she was playing an American after being cast and was shocked by the amount of English dialogue she had to speak when she read the script, which, not gonna lie, our language sucks dick.
Yeah.
An old school Toho logo, which appears at the very beginning, was recreated specifically for the widescreen of this movie by Hirosaru Kobayashi, a graphic designer at Anno Studio Kahara, as appointed by the director, and that is true, and that is like a nice little touch.
I fucking love this movie.
It's totally
like, even reading all these fun facts, except for the girl having to learn English, and was just like, God damn it, like. How much homage they put to the original films.
There's
and
love,
stuff.
man.
Even
There's
though it's
love
like
in this movie.
even though it's a reboot, like 100% reboot, like in the facts that we just said, the fact that they still play so much homage. Yes.
Yeah. So,
Gojira!
And speaking of Gojira and things of that size of awesomeness, speaking of awesomeness, October 5th is our show at the Gorehounds Playground up here in Fort Collins, Colorado. We have actually officially decided on a subject. I know on all our posters that were posted, we haven't really talked about what we're going to show. So
Yeah.
we're now, we after a lot of deliberating and talking about it, we do know last Halloween, last October, we did specific lore and monsters, and we were originally going to do that, but me and Cody
We were going to do that again this year and thought we would do that for every October, but
we talked about it, and we
Yeah.
wanted to change it up a little bit. So we figured that there is one that we could do that could really, we could stretch out all of October and make the theme for one that we've been wanting to do, but didn't have like a good opportunity to it. And we realized October is the great time to do it. We are going to be talking about serial killers. Period. So, to be specific, on October 5th, we are actually going to be talking about serial killers in general, and we're going to be talking about why we have this morbid fascination with them. We're going to be diving deep into the subject. Everyone who comes to the show, we're going to be asking you your opinions about it.
yeah. You're going to be literally on the podcast.
Yeah.
Like-
talking about serial killers, we're
Yeah.
talking about its effect on horror, and talking about horror with us, and just nerding out with us. It's going to be exciting. And then the rest of October, we're actually going to be focusing on a few key serial killers and movies inspired by them, but we're kicking it off October 5th with our live show, just talking about serial killers in general. So, with that being said, if you want to come to the show, go ahead and go over to our website, www.punkrockhorrorpodcast.com. Under PRHP Live, you can purchase your tickets there, or it's in the links in the episode notes below. You can go directly there from there. If you want to keep up with everything we're doing and follow us and like us, that would mean the world to us. Please go over to our Facebook. Search up Punk Rock Horror Podcast, or to Twitter, official PRHP, or
Instagram, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, #PRHP Podcast.
you can follow me on Instagram at The Undead Man. If you want to consider supporting the show, please go over to our Patreon and consider become a monthly patron, to where you will get access to our Punk Rock Half Hour of Power, including episodes before anyone else. With that being said as well, please continue to also listen to and support Paranormal Princess Podcast, which will have an episode come out on the end of every Tuesday at the end of every month. So, the last Tuesday of every month, everyone.
Yep.
Just to make that clear. Lastly, we are coming out with new merch. We are working on a hoodie right now that is a requested item that we are going to be working on. We just got to figure out designs, and then we'll put it on the Teespring store that makes all of our merch, and maybe we'll change stores eventually. I don't know.
We haven't.
That
We're working on it.
baby steps.
Yep.
Deal with that. Again, big shout out to Big Boot Studio for making the new intro for our show. To our sponsor, Joy Organics, and I feel like there was something else that we need to touch on that I can't remember. Oh well, I'm sure I'll remember it some other time. Maybe it's not a big deal. But Ghouls, Gals, Creeps, Mutants, thank you for continually coming out. Oh, that's what I was going to say. If you listen to us on iTunes, please go over to our iTunes. Give us a 5-star rating. leave us a review. Tell us what you think of the show.
It helps us out. Like you could even write anything you want. You just say like, I like popcorn.
I'm gonna recommend that's no. No, we're gonna say no to that.
Why not?
Because how do we?
We just need the review, or just need the 5 stars.
Yeah, but we want their criticism.
I mean, I would like that, but if sometimes people don't know what to say.
Okay, I guess if you don't want to critique the show, you can say you like popcorn.
Or something like that, or like I love serial killers. Anyway, it would just help us out, and it'll help us out. Like getting those 5-star reviews will also help us out get future sponsors and all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, it reviewing the show, leaving us a 5-star, and just telling us what you like about the show just helps us out a lot.
Yeah.
So again, Ghouls and Gals, sorry for the long-winded ending credits. Thank you for hanging out and letting us talk about horror with you and tell you about these movies. And with that being said, podcast over.
Godzilla!
Godzilla!